Good morning. It is September 11th, 2020 at 8:19 a.m. Smoky day outside. The wind shifted, and so we had been under a thick blanket of smoke, as I'd said. But the wind shifted. We got a couple of super clear days, really, really nice, and now it's back. In-person school is canceled today, but my kids don't go to in-person school. Obviously, this day has a lot of associations with it. I usually don't spend a lot of time talking about September 11th because it's such a complicated subject that's really loaded. It's really politically loaded. But personally, I remember the morning that it happened. My mom woke me up before school. I was in middle school. I was in 8th grade. And she came in. I was still sleeping in a bunk bed with my older sibling. I was in the top bunk. My mom came in and she woke me up and she said, "There's been an attack. The Twin Towers have fallen." Or one of the Twin Towers. And I said, "What are the Twin Towers?" I was not an especially worldly kid. To tell you the truth, there's a lot of buildings in this world I still wouldn't recognize. But I had no idea what the World Trade Center was. Having something happen in New York and having it be a big deal was bizarre to me. I went out to the living room and I sat in front of the TV, one of those big square box TVs. There was still a VCR attached to it. I watched the TV and I was sitting in front of the news watching the tower burn, and I wondered, does this mean I can stay home from school today? My initial reaction was incredibly age appropriate. I felt very confused by the intensity of my parents' reactions. I remember standing in the kitchen, in the doorway, lingering back, and seeing my parents whispering between each other by the window. Should they send us to school? Is it safe to send us to school? They sent us to school. I got there and I was walking between first period, like homeroom, and I guess actual first period. And I was talking about it with other kids. And I said with great authority, they're saying some guy named Aladdin is behind it. Osama bin Laden. I heard it, but I had never heard the name before. And again, not a very worldly child. So bin Laden just sounded to me like Aladdin. That was all I remembered. Even though I was still very much, obviously, a child. 12 years old. Not mature. I've always been immature for my age. Which I don't say as a joke. I'm sort of, if you've heard of twice exceptional, people who are considered to be gifted students, very advanced academically, but emotionally delayed, like developmentally delayed in other ways. So exceptionally smart, exceptionally delayed in another spot. That's me as well. So I was very much a child at that age. Even though I was still very much a child, we spent all day in school watching TV. I remember sitting in my English class, I think it was the last period before the end of the day, and I'm not sure I have the time of day right on this, come to think of it. I'm not exactly sure of the timeline of events. I was sitting in one of my classes watching TV when people began jumping out of the towers, and we saw that happening more or less live. I was so young. I still remember a lot about it. That's really my last memory from that day. But as the months wore on, it left a really big impression on me. The Islamophobia is what I mostly remember. I do remember that the country was more united, but what really lingered after that faded was the Islamophobia. I associate 9/11 with the Bush 2 era in general, and that wasn't the only trauma of that era. I came of age and realized I was gay amid the conversation surrounding gay marriage. And so my identity was formed around this idea of the gay marriage battles at the time and this sort of open public discourse about how disgusting gays were or weren't. I heard a lot of, it's okay if you're gay, just don't do it in front of me kind of thing. I associate that with 9/11 too. My friends going off to the Iraq War a few years later. That's what I associate with 9/11. I don't know. I'm sad for the people who died and the families affected. But the discourse surrounding 9/11 became a loyalty test to the nation, for the nation. The whole God Bless America thing became a bigger fight. And so the direct fallout that came from the patriotism that built around that was horrible. And it didn't feel safe to explore that because anything that smacked of anti-patriotism was met with hostility. It's been 19 years. Is that right? 19 years? I still don't really know what to make of it, except that it was and it is. I woke up this morning and went looking for news about the school my kids attend because we got a report of a case of coronavirus there. And it's not a big deal again because my kids are not going. But I just wanted to see if there are any updates about spread. Like, do we know if there's much spread throughout the area? We're very physically close to the school. I can see it from my window. So if it's there, chances are pretty good it's around me and the houses around here. Kind of trying to weigh. I've been letting my kid play outside with their friends. The days are often windy and they wear a mask and they do the best distancing a kid their age can do. The isolation is so hard. But so trying to weigh, does this mean it's time to stop playing outside? What's the risk there? I don't know. I went looking for an article on that and instead I found articles on people being hurt and dying and the impact of the wildfires in California. I also have a lot of trauma associated with wildfires in a different way, and I'm very scared of them. I shouldn't have read any articles about it because there's a lot of pain happening that has sort of left me in a bit of a panic about it. That's what's on my mind this morning. As you can see, though, I did my makeup. I haven't been able to bring myself to shower. I'm disgusting. I'm a greaseball. I don't know why. Just full disclosure. I mean, nobody wants to hear about it, but that's what it is. Showering is currently sort of an impossible task for me. And that's one of those weird things about mental illness that's really unsexy and not fun to talk about is how hit or miss your self-care can be even when it's present. I knew I was going to be on a video call today with some writers, so I was like, I'm going to just put on a tiny bit of mascara because the lower resolutions, I want them to be able to see my face. So, eyebrows, mascara, and then a little bit of lip. I put on the wrong lipstick because this is so much darker and now it looks like a more facey face. And the rest of me is all unshowered and gross. Here I am. I think I'm going to draw a tarot card today to, I don't know, try to orient myself for the day. Well, 3 cards fell out while I was shuffling, so I think they've chosen themselves. Let's see what we've got here. Is that all of you? So these 3 cards fell out while I was shuffling, so I'm going to do a 3-card pull today. The first card is the Hanged Man. I'll show you these in a sec. The second card is the 8 of Skulls. Oh, and the third card is Fortune, inverted. Wheel of Fortune. So here's the Hanged Man as I drew him. He's upside down, so you can see he actually kind of looks right side up. How do I have to hold this so you can actually see it? This is my Vampire Tarot deck. So it's a bit gothier. It's still, I prefer Rider White imagery, but in different ways, with different adaptations. I typically associate the Hanged Man with the beginning of a journey. The fact that he's inverted makes me think that if I'm starting on a journey, it's not a particularly well-considered one. Skulls in this stand for pentagrams, for pentacles. So for 8 of Pentacles, here's this gentleman. I typically associate 8 of Skulls with sort of industrious pursuit and testing things, testing what I've learned. And then the Wheel of Fortune, I'm not really sure what to make of it inverted. It came to me inverted. That's the thing about the wheel, though. It doesn't really matter, does it? Because the wheel turns. Sometimes things are good, sometimes they're not. But it's all part of the cycle. Everything is a cycle. So this collection of cards, what it tells me is keep going. I think I'm still kind of early in whatever I'm doing. It's hard to contemplate. I have my career in my mind because, sorry, that sounds my dog chewing a bone. I don't feel early. I feel old. I feel tired. I feel late. Maybe I am still early. Maybe I'm still learning and testing. One phase ends and the next one begins. It's Friday. It's weekend. Read a good book for me, okay? And tell me down what you're reading. I'll talk to you guys this weekend.